Welcome everyone to this week's special edition skill building bounty. In line with the NFL tournament that we're having, we thought that we make the skill building bounty about NFL, which I have very little knowledge about, and that's why we have Brendan here today to share some more, to drop some knowledge on for us. So
Yes.
yeah, let's get started. So what is NFL?
So for folks who didn't join our session last week, the NFL is the big pro football league here in the US. American football, not probably football that a lot of you know is what we call soccer here, but American football, big guys tackling each other, going up and down the field, fighting over a little leather ball. Yeah, I can get more into it. I'll share the slides that I did for last week's call. I don't know that we were able to tape it, but I can share the slides so people can see, and feel free to ask questions in chat. But yeah, the NFL is the big pro football league, and if you do know anyone in the US who's a sports fan, it's basically what they spend their whole Sunday wasting time watching.
Nice, thanks, Brendan. Yeah, and basically there is this NFT called NFL All Day, which is on Flow, which we have the data for, and it basically captures. Well, there's two tables. One is the labels table where it captures all the labels for all the NFTs on this site, NFL All Day, and then there's also the more generic sales table, which captures all Flow NFT sales.
And for those
Cool.
who aren't familiar, but maybe you're familiar with NBA Top Shot, which is basically the same platform also on Flow, but for NBA basketball. So that's one that's garnered a lot of attention in crypto, but also in the mainstream. Like if you folks like me who came from outside the crypto world probably knew about that, or folks who aren't as familiar. And so NFL All Day is basically the football version, so to speak, of NBA Top Shot is a way to think about it.
Mm. Cool. Anything you want to add before we get into it?
No, I don't think so. I'm happy to answer any questions. Sorry that my explanations didn't quite help Marina, but I'm happy to answer anything if there's specifics. Or I know, Sam, there's some stuff we wanted to talk about in terms of different play types and maybe things to look out for that might make moments more valuable or more interesting to folks. So we can maybe start to get into some of the data, and I can answer some stuff on the fly.
Yeah, sure. So right off the bat, if you go to Flow, Flow Core, there's a table called dim all day metadata, which is a table which stores all the information about the all day NFT. So we've got the ID, we've got the collection name, moment here that's like common, rare, and then how many how many cards in for this pack, who's the player, moment description, so on and so forth. And then there's play type, series, and set name. And I was asking Brendan like what these mean.
Yeah. So play
Yeah.
type. I believe there is maybe even the same exact field in Top Shot or a very similar one, but it's basically describing what the NFT depicts. So most of the NFL All Day NFTs are videos. They're short video clips, almost like a GIF. And they're like 15, 30 seconds maybe, and they show a specific play. And so what the play type is kind of narrows down what it is. So I saw you can see here, they are, field goal. That's when someone's kicking the ball through the big uprights at the end. Kick return is running back a kick, usually at the start of a half or after a score. And so there's all these different types of plays here. I can go over the specific types if you're interested, Sam. The one kind of wrinkle there I know from looking at it is player melt, which is number 5 in that list there. So from what I can find, a player melt is not anything I've heard of. That's not like a football term. If you turn on a broadcast this week, or if you watched last night's Monday Night Football game, you're not going to hear the announcers talk about player melts, although that would be very funny if they did. A player melt is basically a series of plays. So whereas NFL All Day NFTs are typically, like I said, just one play, A player melt will be a series of plays, and from what I can find, this typically happens over some kind of thing that's notable. So maybe a player is setting a record, and so it will include a few plays that helped him set that record. Or if it was a particularly meaningful set of plays, they'll be grouped together in what this player melt is. So that's kind of an outlier among all these other categories.
Yeah, and is it possible to filter for play type?
I believe so. If you,
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
play
I
type right
see.
there.
Let's see, Mel. Oh, okay. Yeah, Mel.
And a team melt is similar. That's just going to be, player melts will all be from one player. A team melt is all going to be from one team. So Chris Godwin is a receiver, if you want to look at that one, from the from the Tampa Bay Bucks. And so he set a team record for the most catches in a game, most receptions in a game. That's just catching passes, as you can see in the video on Sam's screen here. And so he caught 15. That is a ton. That's a lot. It's the most anyone who plays for the Tampa Bay Bucks has ever had in a single game. And so what they did here was collect all of the different catches into one NFT. So as you can see, it's pretty expensive, significantly more expensive than a lot of the single player NFTs, which makes some sense. If there's one particularly great play that is worth maybe a couple $100, then a few really great plays that ended up in a record, is going to be worth even more when you package them together.
Cool. Wow. Okay. So it's all packaged into this one. So what's
Right.
the
So
difference
if you're a
between?
big Bucks fan or you're a big Chris Godwin fan, maybe you have Chris Godwin on your fantasy team, which is a really popular way people follow football here, which works the same way as like a football or soccer pool. Um, Maybe you wanna own this. You're really excited about it, and so rather than having to go buy 15 different NFTs of catches, you just have one big NFT with all of them, basically.
Right. Okay. Okay. Cool. Very cool. Yeah, and then they've got all these tags here, which we have as well: legendary, team name, player name, uh, play type, collectible, recent sales. Okay. Okay. All right. So if we go back to the data, there's also set name, is which I believe when you explain to me, it's like a collection of play types.
It's basically almost like a category, a promotional type. So set name is where it's coming from. So NFL All Day does sets either kind of on a weekly basis. So I was looking, and it seems like they release a set after maybe every week or a set of weeks for during the regular season, and then they'll do them for specific events or playoff rounds. So you see there at number 10, Super Bowl LVI. That was the most recent Super Bowl. So a bunch of the plays from the Super Bowl, which I'm sure were more valuable or at least more interesting for a while at least, are collected there. Number 6 is class of 2022. Those are all going to be rookies that debuted in 2022. So they collected moments from rookies or new players that just entered the league, typically from college. In that, against the clock is going to be plays that are done as the clock's winding down, buzzer beaters and other sports, if you've ever heard that term. And then base is kind of a catch-all. So that's going to be things that maybe don't fit into one of these specific sets that are centered around a theme or centered around a specific event. Maybe it's just a great play that happened in the middle of the regular season, and it wasn't necessarily by a rookie. It wasn't necessarily against the clock. It wasn't during the playoffs, but it's still worth highlighting. So it ends up in the base set.
Nice. Oh, just one second. I'm just gonna mute someone. Sorry. Okay, there you go. So I think one thing we can do is we can see like what are the common, like based on these set names, which set is the most common. Um, we can just do this. So is there like an expected set name that we can expect to see, like the most common? Oh, cool. Base,
Yeah, so unsurprisingly, base is which is, like I said, kind of a
gridiron,
catch-all. Gridiron, I'd have to look at. I wonder what
NST.
that
Okay.
gridiron
So
is.
like
Just a.
when we so does that mean that we should?
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Sam.
Oh, I think you're breaking off a bit.
Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was just saying, like, does it mean that when we look at just because there's just so many base, does it mean that we should exclude base if we're looking at like specific um sets?
So base, like I said, is going to be the catch-all for something that doesn't fit into other sets. So other sets are going to have, let me rephrase that. The fact that cards are in other sets that aren't base is more useful information than knowing that it is in base. If it's in base, it basically means you don't really have a category that you can associate it with. Whereas these other ones down here, you're going to know more about what the moment is just based on the round. So, number 10 there, Super Wildcard Weekend, 19 divisional round. Those are playoff rounds. So you'll know as soon as you see that, oh, these cards are from the playoffs. Make the stop is going to be all defensive plays. So you'll know right off the top that that's a defensive play. He called game, I imagine, is game-winning plays. So you're going to know right as soon as you see that set that it's going to be a game-winning play if that's something you're particularly interested in. Whereas base isn't really going to tell you anything other than that it doesn't fit into those other categories. So it's more of a category of exclusion than a category of inclusion.
Right, got it. Okay. It's like a whatever. Okay, so I think so. Does it mean that it would be interesting to see like what are the most common set names people are buying recently?
Yeah, for sure. That'll give you an idea of, maybe a place to start because, you can filter, as you said on there, cards by that set and see what things are most valuable. So maybe that's an idea to see if playoff games are still particularly valuable, if it's rookies that are particularly valuable or something else. You see a lot of trends like that in tangible sports cards, which this is obviously kind of based on or comes from the idea of, trading cards, baseball cards, football cards that you saw way back in the day. People would kind of see things like rookie cards would get very valuable for certain players. So I think things like Class of 22 are kind of aiming at that same idea of scarcity and specialness, that not only is this a great player, but you got it on the ground floor, so to speak, because it's just when he was entering the league, you bought low.
Got it. Okay, okay. All right, cool. So I think we can use that information to like determine what would be useful when we look at the sales. Just a quick note that I just saw here that if you're using the FAQ NFT sales, it's gonna deprecate soon. So we'll be moving on to, or it has been moved to the easy table, so easy NFT sale. So I'm going to see what does this table look like, and I'm going to join with the all day metadata table. So we've got transaction ID, okay, NFT collection, NFT ID, okay, price, currency, okay, cool. So let's just call this as like raw sales. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get the, so right now if you look at the sales table, it just has the NFT collection and the NFT ID, and without it doesn't have more information on play types, set names. So we're combining with the metadata table so that we can filter specific set names or look at specific set names. Okay, so I want to join this. I'll just call this as S, this M, S dot. And then we only want the all day, right? So collection where S dot the collection all day. Okay, cool. I think that looks good. Sales, what else do we want? NFT ID. Buyer, seller, price, currency. And then we also want to filter where transaction is succeeded. So, and okay. And maybe put a date. Let's see, like beginning of, what's a good sales month? Like from August onwards, is that good enough?
Yeah, that's probably good. The season started last week, but like this has been ongoing preseason and hype stuff, so I think August is probably a good time.
Okay, cool. And then we would need the team. Player team, is season important or not really?
That will give you some information. Season is just going to be what year the game was played effectively. So most of them at this point are going to be 2021, just because the
Oh,
platform started last year and we've only had 1 week this year. I doubt they even have the NFTs out from what I saw. Clicking on the site yesterday and today, I mean, the first set of games for this season only ended last night at about midnight. So I doubt they have them turned around already. So
got it.
season is basically going to be all 2021, but there are some from older ones like classic plays or classic highlights. You can think of them as from long ago. I was maybe considering buying one from the Giants beating the Patriots in the Super Bowl a few years ago this morning as I was playing around on the site. So they definitely do have some games from a few years ago. So if you are looking for like an old game, maybe you're a Patriots fan and you want something from one of their several recent Super Bowls, maybe you want something from another recent Super Bowl, you're an Eagles fan, they won recently or something like that, you can find old ones that way as well. And yes, helmet catch. My fun fact that I like to torture Patriot fans with is I was at the Super Bowl of the famed helmet catch, if there are any NFL fans in here. So that's my claim to fame, I guess, my fun fact for the day.
Nice. I just saw Pioneer's question. Do you need to filter by collection? You're right. We don't have to filter. It will give the same result. Wait. Let me think. Yeah. We don't have to filter. Okay, so what I've done is I've just combined the raw sales table with some labels. So now we have the transaction, NFT ID, who's the buyer, seller, how much is it. This is basically USD equivalent. Player type, a player team, play type, set name, and then a moment here. So I think I'm just going to see like what currency there are, just to make sure that we can, like if it's just USD, then that's good. Then we don't have to worry about prices. Okay, nice. Okay, so all sales are in USD, which is very nice. All right, cool. So what should we look at first? You mentioned something around set name, and I remember the set name rookie revelation. So I'm gonna filter for that. Where set name? Is this how to spell it? Revelation.
That is how you spell those words, so hopefully that works.
Nice. Okay.
Yes, there we go.
So these are players who are new to
So
NFL.
this is going to be, and actually this is, I'm glad you chose this category, Sam, or this set, because this gives us a chance to look at a few different things. So these are going to be highlights from a player's rookie year, but taking a quick look at the names listed here, these are not all listed like recent rookies. Obviously, everyone is a rookie at some point, but most of the players like in that player category here are not brand new players in the NFL this year or even last year, which, like we said, I believe was the first year for NFL All Day. So Mac Jones who is third, fourth from the bottom there in the gray shading from the Patriots. He's a new quarterback there. And Jalen Waddle is a recent rookie. I believe he's from last year. Hopefully that's not wrong. But the other names on this list, for the most part, are not. Julio Jones has been in the league for a long time. He's a veteran now. If anything, he's a guy getting towards his last legs. Terrell Davis is a Hall of Fame great running back, but he's been retired for several years now. So what these are collections of or a collection of NFTs that are from people's rookie year, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's a year ago. So that goes back to what we were talking about recently, in terms of most of them are going to be 2021, but obviously, like, just looking at this list, the Terrell Davis one can't be from the 2021 season. He was a rookie sometime in the early 90s off the top of my head. I don't know what year, but
Wow.
he was a rookie 20, 30 years ago. Julio Jones was a rookie 5-10 years ago. So these are not plays from last year or something like that. So that's interesting to look at. And if you look at the play type too, unsurprisingly, or at least to me, a lot of them are player melts, or at least a fair amount of them are player melts, which probably indicates that it's a collection of really great players from that player's rookie year, because it is from like a few years ago. So it's kind of looking back on it. Like, obviously that Julio Jones one there is a collection of plays. You can see that in the player melt. There's a few of those in that list.
Oh, sorry, Brendan. I think you were quite. You were cutting off a bit. As you explained that earlier.
I'm able to hear you, Brendan.
Okay, cool. Laughing Blind, I can be your player bio metadata table. Just at me with your player name and I'll tell you who they are. It's a dangerous offer to make, but why not?
Yeah, feel free to propose and ask those questions in the NFL All Day channel. That way we can, all provide support and help.
Okay. So in this case, does it make sense if I filter set name rookie revelation, and I want to see what play types people are buying?
Yeah, that would be a really good way to look at it. You could see if there are particular, that would give you good ideas of trends of players or position types that could be popular as well. Another good filter might be position, just because that would give you an idea of specific positions. I believe they're all filtered that way as well, or there is a category there. At least I thought so, but maybe I'm wrong.
Wait, position?
Maybe
is
not.
it classification or?
No, I thought I saw that there, but maybe it was somewhere else. Maybe it was just on the. Oh yeah, there it is. But,
DB?
Yes. So DB is a defensive back. Those are the guys that try to break up passes. They're the really fast, skinnier guys you'll see on defense.
Okay, cool. So we can use I'm blanking out. I think it's code beautify. There you go. I'm just gonna copy, paste, and then position. Oops. Where is it? Okay. So object metadata player position. Movement stats full. Oops. Let's just see if it's pulling at the right thing. So you're saying that I can filter by the different positions? Like, what does this all mean?
So those are the different positions guys play. So RB is running back, DB is defensive back, QB is quarterback, DL is D-line. And that will give you an idea, especially if you're looking at rookies, like what the most popular younger players are, which can give you an indication. Like if you're looking for, like we said, to get in on some of the scarcity, the idea of a rookie card. If you follow card trading, this can give you an idea of maybe even as they start to release rookie cards for the 2022-2023 season, which just kicked off this weekend. If you look at last year's or even all of them and say, hey, running backs or quarterbacks are really popular rookie cards, maybe I should keep my eye out and try to make sure I get a handle on those or see what's going on there. So those can be pretty good indicators of different trends, largely on the platform, or things to look out for, especially early in a season.
I see. Well, there's just so many things we can look at. We can look at this. We can look at this. Maybe
Right,
we'll
and
stick with.
all those different categories, especially when combined with sets, will give you kind of different ideas of trends. So you could look at position, you can look at play type, even teams. Like, is there a team that has a lot of great rookies that would be good to keep an eye on? Or there's a lot to go into there.
Oh my goodness. Okay, let's just try looking at like what positions people have been buying recently. Maybe I'll say like daily. Um, and then we can do uh, so I'm just doing a standard summing up the day, so aggregating the number of sales transactions daily, and qualify because I want to only look at, let's say, the top three positions daily. So partition by day, order by partition by day, order. Okay. Oh wow, there's a lot of missing. Okay, so it's kind of hard to look at this on a daily scale. But it seems like if I were to make this a weekly or monthly view, it seems like RB would be the one that's most commonly bought by number of sales.
Yeah,
But the number
that,
of sales,
or there's been a huge trend in wide
yeah,
receiver in the past week, or about a past week,
yeah,
week and
that's
a half.
true.
That could be because either A, just price dynamics, maybe in wide receivers were underpriced for a while. As you can see, there weren't a lot of wide receivers bought in the days leading up, so maybe they were overpriced and people brought prices down, and all of a sudden there was a rush of buyers. Or it could be a lot of rookie NFL receivers got a lot of hype going into the season. Um,
Hmm.
Guys like Jamar Chase, or if you follow football at all, are big stars. If you play fantasy football, they're going in the first rounds in most drafts. So that could be also part of it, is that as those guys kind of get a lot of hype and attention from the NFL media machine, that it's being reflected in their sales. That would maybe be an interesting thing to dig into further.
Yeah, we can definitely do that. So I'm gonna say like and I want to filter for position. Was it RB?
RB, or RB was the one that seemed more biggest,
Oh,
like constantly over time. Wide receiver WR had the big
oh, okay. W.
jump in the last like week. I think it was 10 days, something like that.
Yeah. And do we want to see the player name or
Yeah, that'd be pretty useful, interesting.
uh player name? Oh, this is player. Unexpected. So daily view, number of sales, who the players are. Oh wow, okay. So it's all these guys.
Interesting. So yeah, it's all Julio Jones, who's actually not, like I said earlier, he's not a true rookie in the
Yeah.
sense that he's he's like in his 30s. I can look up how old he is, but I have been drafting Julio Jones in fantasy football leagues for a long time. So my guess is that actually could be, just like there was a glut of cards available for him, and maybe that drove the price down. You know, he also played on Thursday of last week, which maybe could have had something to do with it. But it seems like the big day where 12 of them were sold was before that on September 2nd. So that most likely wasn't it.
Interesting. We can actually see like what exact NFT they buy. So maybe I'll make a new tab here. Julio Jones. Everything. And player equals to Julio Jones. What was it? 12 September? Looks like it's all different
NFTs.
NFT, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so
people
this
just buy
was
like,
September 12th was
yeah.
after the game. So he kind of returned and had a pretty good game in his first game back. So that could be part of it, that folks were then wanting to go get Julio Jones NFTs on the 12th. He played on a week ago Thursday, so that would have been the 8th. So yeah, that could have something to do with it. It's hard to say for sure. Yes, the moments were definitely from his previous seasons, but oftentimes, especially like I said, in the trading card world, in the IRL card world, player cards value were somewhat directly tied to a player's reputation, his ability, however you want to say it. So the fact that he had a big game on Thursday could drive his price up. Like I said, he's an older player. He's probably getting near the end of his career, so he wasn't as valuable. But if he's going to have a big season, folks traditionally want to have those kind of players in their collection, so that could have an effect on even older players, even if they weren't from that game. A big game, especially at the start of a season where it looks like you could go have a big season, could definitely have an effect on those things. It's not cheap either.
Wow. Okay. And how much are they paying? Okay. So minimum $725. Wow.
So that's a rookie card, but like I said, so that's going to be from years ago, from 2011. Yeah, so from 10 years ago, he was a rookie. So he's been playing for quite a long time. He's on a different team now. Like very little about this play is still relevant or happening today. But wow, what a catch! That's a worthwhile moment to have just for the catch. But
Ooh.
like I said, just having a big week could lift your reputation, and folks could be excited, and they say, hey, I want to own a Julio Jones MVP NFT. And so they go to the platform, they search, they see this catch. It's obviously a pretty impressive play. And so they say, yeah, that's worth a big price tag to me because of that. And I mean, look at this too. This dude is quick. So yeah, two really cool plays bundled together there, 2 touchdowns. A guy coming off a big game, not necessarily a huge surprise to see a spike. How do these price ranges compare with IRL cards? I think they're a bit cheaper. There's less of a market inherently for them because crypto is smaller. But like, I'll go look up a Julio Jones rookie card real quick just for like a comparison. They won't be of specific plays, so we can't find anything that like are his exact touchdown that we saw there. But like looking for his rookie card, it looks like if you want it, it's actually a lot more expensive, interestingly. So a lot of his rookie cards here are a few dollars. If you want it signed, it's more expensive than that. But yeah, so it looks like if anything, the NFT is fetching a lot more than what the traditional cards are, right? At least right now, based on a quick eBay scan.
Ooh. What's the difference between like this like why some people buy it for 725, some people buy it for 950?
So that's NF and All Day. These are people buying them from the marketplace. So this is not, you're not buying it from Flow or from All Day the company or the entity. You're buying it from another holder. So if you go back to that marketplace page, Sam, people are setting prices. So you see there it says lowest ask. That's not like a price necessarily. You can see here all of these people own this NFT, and just like any other NFT platform, you can list it and say, I'm willing to part with this if someone pays me $1,000. So maybe you bought it for 700 and you really like it and you're not looking to just flip it for a short gain. But if you can, make 50% of your investment, you're willing to part with it. So you can list it for 1,000. And obviously right now, most people probably wouldn't pay so much more than that for it. But if the price continues to rise, if Julio continues to have a great season, maybe that list will eventually get bought.
Got it. Okay, so this guy bought it at the top then.
Yeah, pretty much. I would, 950 is a lot.
Okay. Yeah. I guess my other question is like why some moments are like legendary versus the
So
other
that is an
moments.
indication from Flow, similar to like set name. It's how they're categorizing. I believe those kind of deals from, I think it's like basic, legendary. I forget exactly what the different categories are, but I believe they have to do with essentially the scarcity. So the different tiers. There you go. That's the word I was looking for from Laughing Pine. Imply the scarcity. So like those base cards that we were talking about before, there's going to be a lot more of them, of even individuals. So those are obviously going to be less valuable. Whereas these legendary cards, I'm trying to look and see, there might only be 99 of these. So yeah, compare that to something that there's 1,000 of. That could also be driving the price here. There's only so many of these, cool rookie cards for this particular player.
Okay. Maybe we can see like so I also realized that for rookie revelation almost all are legendary. Is there a set name where the
They
moments
won't
are like
be.
like varied?
Well, Basic will surely have that. I'd have to look at the other set names. I don't know if
Oh,
Basic is too, or Base rather, sorry, is too wide of a categorization here, but maybe we can try that.
yeah, let's try that. So I'm just looking at a moment here, and I want to see like what's the average price. Um,
So I looked up real quick the different tiers, and it looks like, they are basically directly related to scarcity. So, some of them only have 100, some of them have up to 10,000, some of them have up to 450,000. So there's a big difference between how that works. Legendary, which we're looking at, don't have more than 10,000, it says, but they can have less. Ultimate only has 10. So like those are super, super scarce, super rare in comparison to like common, which has which can have 5 million total mints. So big difference.
yeah,
And
this
that
is like 10,000.
Right. And that really reflects how traditional sports trading cards work. So the reason, like we'll keep using rookie cards as an example, the reason those are so valuable is typically there's not as much demand for rookies. So card companies wouldn't print as many rookie cards. And then having one was rare because it was this great player and there's only so many of those cards made. And so that drove the value up. And so obviously with NFTs, there's maybe not the same demands on like your inability or your demand to produce specific people, but they're replicating that same idea by only making so many rookie cards in that legendary set. And so there's still that idea of scarcity that drives the value for those Julio Jones cards that we saw before.
Got it. Okay. Square is taking some time to run. No, what's wrong? Gonna refresh. Devs do something. Yeah, exactly. Maybe it's because of medium is trying to like arrange, but yeah. So So does a player go from, let's say, Austin like debuts recently, right? But then in the future where he does more like good plays, does he? So essentially, I'm asking like, you know how we saw Julio Jones in
Hmm.
Legendary? Are there like Julio Jones common cards?
Yeah, I'm sure there are.
I see.
There will. It's kind of all squares are rectangles, but not all rectangles are squares situation where I'm
Hmm.
sure anyone who has legendary cards will also have base cards. If they have legendary cards, they're probably well known players. So they're going to have base cards. But I would imagine
Oh,
that there are lots of people with base cards that don't have legendary cards if it's just like some random player who's not that popular and not that impactful.
I see. Okay, okay, got it.
So it's less that like you move up a level and more that you like gain access almost as you get
Hmm.
better, if that makes sense. It's not like you're taken out of common. It's just that like, oh, you're so good or you made such a great play that will make a legendary card. Like, Julio Jones, like I said, has been playing for 10 years. That's a really long career in the NFL for the folks that don't know. It's such a physical and often violent game and can leave guys so injured. The average career is only 3 years long, which is pretty astounding when you think about how short that is in the larger scheme of things. So the fact that a player like Julio Jones has remained not just in the league, but a big name, a star player from obviously, those first two touchdowns that we saw before to now will also drive that value.
Yeah, yeah, makes sense. Actually, now that you mentioned that, I wonder if it's possible to like find the yeah, there you go, player rookie year. So we can actually get the year where they are considered rookies. Like for example, this guy, what's his name? Jimmy Ward. His rookie year is 2014. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I think so. If I remember correctly, he was a corner or a safety, some kind of defensive back for San Francisco.
So we can actually create like a list of players and what year they would you say rookie year is like the year they debut or
Yep. So usually you go play college football for at least 3 years, based on the rules of college football, which I won't get into all the details of. But you get drafted as like a 20 or 21-year old, and then you enter the league. Um, and so yeah, that will be everybody's first year in the league will be that year, which could also be interesting because there are certain rookie classes that are famous for being stacked with great talent. And so that could be something like another trend to look for are certain years producing players that are particularly valuable.
yeah, actually let's do that while we wait for this. Which um I think it's because I use Medium. Well, we'll just let this run. While we look at okay, so I'm trying to find like the rookies that debut in 2021 or yeah, like this year or last year, and like what cards are people buying. So I'm going to add a player rookie year. I'm guessing it's this player rookie year as um there are rookies 2022, right? So I can filter for 2021 and 2022.
Yes, there are definitely rookies this year, but I don't know that they've produced any NFTs of them yet because they'd have to wait for the games
Ah,
based on how it
got it.
works, right? Because they're all highlights
Yeah.
from games. I'm looking to see if I can find anybody, but my guess is that will be like coming soon, TM. And if anything, that could be like a pack drop coming up. You know what I mean? I was looking on their site. I saw they don't
Yeah.
have one announced like what their next pack is, and that wouldn't surprise me at all if their next pack was like rookies off to hot starts in the first, week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks of the season, something like that.
Oh, cool. We got our thing back.
There we
Oh,
go.
wait. Why is there only common? Oh dear. Looks like there's only common for base. I guess it's because they can't identify the exact set name. This thing. Wait, let me verify this. So, oh, there's no set name here. I see. Okay. Oh, nothing. Rookie year. Just one sec. Rookie year in 2021. Huh, okay. What's another set name? I remember Grid Iron. Is that a
Wait.
set name?
Yeah, do that. I'm curious to see what that set is because that's not one that immediately indicated to me what
Medium.
type of plays it was.
Yeah.
Aha, it looks like these are all vintage plays, all historical plays. Looking on the marketplace. So none of these are going to be
The
from the gridiron set that you were just looking at there.
okay.
These are all going to be, we talked about whether they would be from this season or previous seasons. These are all historical players, I guess is what that indicates.
Oh, it's here set.
Yeah, you can do that. So then if you apply filters, you can see there in the lower left hand, or you have a different size screen than I am, but in the lower part there where it lists some of the traits about the cards, it says historical. So that shows you that it's not a game from last season.
I see. Okay. Oh, I see a date. No, it's not. Wait.
Yep,
Yeah,
that's the date.
October 1st.
October 1st of 1989. So obviously that game is from quite a long time ago.
Why is it taking so long? Let's check again. I should be right. Why is it taking so long? 20. Oh, I think I know why. Hey, wait, no, that shouldn't affect. Huh. This haven't even started running yet. This is running. Guess in the meantime we can get more flow. Get more flow data. Okay. Okay, so that there's so much more information on in the moment stats full column. There's
Yeah,
like
so that's probably
yeah,
because it is a historical play. There's a lot more information associated with it rather than a new play.
there's like the player birth date and birthplace and the college. Oh, you can filter by college too. So I think there's
Oh,
just
that's
so
really
many.
interesting.
Yeah, there's so many things you can look into.
Yeah, I mean, as we were saying on our call last week, college football is huge here in the States, and
Mm.
there are definitely people that would filter or look for. I don't know if NFL All Day offers it, particularly because they don't have an association with college football, so they might not have like the rights to publicly display college team names and everything in terms of like copyright usage. But there are people that are die hard fans of the Florida Gators or the Ohio State Buckeyes or the USC Trojans or any other, Alabama Crimson Tide, any other number of college football teams. And those fans will often specifically follow those players rather than a particular pro team. Like if you're a big Alabama fan or a big Pitt Panthers fan, like Steph, you might be, living the dream if you're Steph because now you got the old Pitt quarterback on your team. whose name is escaping me for some reason in the moment because the curse of the live demo. But yeah, there are definitely people who will say like, hey, I'm a big Pitt fan and I'm going to follow my favorite Pitt players in the NFL. And so I care more about that than the pro team they play for. And so I'm going to filter or look for NFTs of players with that college or that association. And yes, Kenny Pickett. There we go. Jeez, need more coffee.
My goodness, that's long. 200 seconds. Um, so it's telling me that there is only common for gridiron, which, oh, I see, it is true. Okay. So there's only common for gridiron. Okay. One thing I noticed is that there's a week here. What does week here mean? Like the week number.
Yep, week is going to be
season?
so the NFL season is organized into weeks. The way it works is you only play once a week typically. There's also bye weeks, which are weeks you have off, but we don't have to get into that. But basically, every team plays once a week, and so that's how you can track the season. You'll say this happened in week 7, and everyone will kind of have a shared understanding of what that means, where that is in the season. So week 1, week 2, week 3, that's super early in the year. There are 18 weeks in the season. So I guess 19 now? 19 weeks total. And so that'll tell you kind of where it is. Is it in the beginning of the season, late in the season? If it's week 17, then it's right near the end. If it's week 2, it was just the early part of the season.
Right. Okay. So I also see there's a season year here. So you can do like, for each year, what week was the most? Yeah, what week had the most sales? Which NFT week? Wait, no, that doesn't sound right. Which week?
Which
But you
week
know
had
what I
the
mean,
most
right?
NFT sales? Is that what we're looking for?
Which NFT? Yeah, like the week that's associated with the NFT. Which week had the best moment? There you go. And best moments, which translates to best sales. Cool. While we wait for this to run, any other interesting things that we can look into? I mean, there's just so many things that we can look into here, right?
Yeah, so I could talk about so much of this stuff.
There's so. Oh wait, what's wrong? Yeah. There's just like so many different information. You can even filter by, um, like if a certain age matters or a certain birthplace.
Just want to get all the players from Detroit, Michigan.
Yeah. It's crazy that they record all this data here.
Yeah, I can't believe they do. I mean, that's how trading cards worked, really. Like, if you look at the back of a baseball card, they were, now football cards, but back in the day, baseball cards were what really started all of these trends. It would list all types of information about players, where they're from, where they were born, where they went to college, and then kind of a quick glance at their stats for their career. So it kind of be broken down by year, and for baseball, it would be hits and home runs and doubles and runs driven in and all this other stuff. And for football, they're basically, like I said, kind of replicating that idea. So they're putting all that information into the metadata of the NFT, which is effectively the back of a baseball card.
Yeah, more stats for people to trade.
American sports fans in particular love stats, especially like in this day and age. If you follow it at all, like analytics are a huge movement, which is basically using really particular and specific stats and numbers to evaluate these games. And so, that unsurprisingly is in the data too. Like once people get into that, they want to have that data for everything. So yeah, Moneyball, that's exactly it. That's like one of my favorite books of all time. Fun fact, if you've ever read it or seen the movie, it's a great movie too about baseball, but it's it's a real thing. Like, and that's how most sports teams are run these days. Basically, maybe not with the budgetary constraints that you see in the movie,
Yeah.
especially in the NFL. These teams are making a lot more money than that, but that's how they do it. So they replicate that here. That that's the market they're serving.
Well, something's clearly wrong with velocity.
The curse of the live demo. I do have to jet in a couple of minutes too. I do have another
Yeah.
another engagement, as they say, at 10. But I'll try also, if folks are
Oh.
interested, sound off. Of course, now it goes. It heard us talk about ending the demo.
Good to see that you're leaving.
If folks are interested in like learning more about football or talking more about this stuff, maybe we can set up some kind of event around the release of like the next of the winners on Thursday. So I'll see what we can do there. But yeah, thanks for joining, everybody.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing all this cool stuff.
Literally anytime. I am glad to talk football on the clock whenever anybody wants to.
Nice. Yeah, I think that's it. There's just a lot of things to go through. You can go through like each of these things and make it as a metric by itself. I think that's it. Thanks for joining, and we will record the session and upload onto our YouTube channel. All past recordings are on YouTube as well. Just look up Flipside Crypto. That's it. Thanks for joining, guys. See you on the next one.
Have a good one, everybody.
Bye.